So my name is Scott Foley, and I'm the operations manager at the library. Been here for about 7.5, 8 years, and I come from a background of working in independent bookstores. And so I've worked in all different kind of ranges and responsibilities in bookstores. And when I had the opportunity after my last position to kind of rethink what I wanted to do vocationally, I thought, I want to do something really different. I want to, try new skills, and, you just reach that age where you feel like you've done all you can in one career and want to move on. So I thought, I'm going to do something really different. But I ended up in the library, which is kind of like a bookstore. We just don't take people's money. But I was able to start learning new skills and recognize kind of the library's place in the community. And so that was, the last 7 years have been me picking up that awareness of what a library means to a community. So I think of libraries as more participatory spaces than most other spaces in the community. And so coming into the library is participating in the community. It's making it so that, again, you get to know your neighbors, you get to know, you get to meet strangers, you get to see people that are not like you, and you get to see people that are like you. So it's a great place to spend time, but it's also, the library's role in the community is a very active role. It's not a very passive place. And so it's up to us kind of to set the table for that community interaction to happen, where, if and that kind of community interaction doesn't happen in a grocery store necessarily, doesn't happen as much in a coffee shop, doesn't happen in a clothing store. But in a library, that's where it happens. And so I think, one thing I would say about our library is it's where Lafayette happens. And so, again, more than almost any other place in our community, this is that hub of that identity of Lafayette. So I remember when I was smaller, I was never little, but when I was smaller, I lived in Southern Oregon. I tended to get my books from a grocery store. They had these little, kind of what are they called, mass market paperbacks that were $5 or $4. And but every once in a while we'd go into the library. I tended to read books for grown-ups quite early in my life, and so my earliest library memory is being in a library and going to look for mystery books. So specifically, I wanted to read some, I think the author was Earl Stanley Gardner. And so I was, going through the adult section. I remember, the librarian came up and took my arm and took me back into the kids area, and they said, "This is where you belong." I don't think libraries, I know for a fact, libraries haven't always done the right thing when it comes to the way that we encounter the community, the way that we treat people. But our library is committed to treating people well. And so if I came up to, myself as a little person in the adult books, which would be really weird, but I would say, "Are you finding everything okay? Is there anything I could help you with?" That's our role. It's not to, take you and lead you to where you're supposed to be, but it's to say, well, this is where you are, and this is where we're going to work with you. There was a time when libraries were kind of elitist places. And now I think, the goal of a public library especially is to not be elitist. It's to open the doors, and it's your library. You come on in, this is your space. So now as we're dealing with the pandemic, a lot of our focus is on the resilience of Lafayette. How can we contribute to that recovery process? How can we contribute, recognizing that a lot of our population has lost the job, is looking for a new job? How can we help the situation that schools are going through, where they're asking the kids to navigate these new tools, asking the parents to help those kids in ways that they really, this is new to them as well. Even helping, teachers in their capacity too. So, the specific time in the community, what's going on in the community determines how we're going to be present in the community. And so I can guess certain things. Technology is always going to be a part of libraries going forward. It's a big part of our brand. Not getting rid of the books anytime soon, but the ways of accessing that information, whether it's through downloadables or e-readers, whether it's through other tools that we don't even know about yet, making stuff available through the makerspace, putting technology there for people to use, whether it's video technology or whether it's sound technology or just anything that the community is looking for that nobody else is, those needs that nobody else is meeting. We can be there And I hope that we're not so static that I have a perfect idea of where we're going to be even in 5 years, let alone, 15 years. It's the one thing. I think there's a mythology about libraries. People, when we have parents bring their kids in, sometimes the parents are going, shh, shh, you're in a library. You got to use your insight. No, go ahead, be a kid. I think our libraries are at their best when there's that buzz happening, when kids are off school in the afternoon, when teens are around and they're, being social, when, families are showing up and there's activity and there's that buzz. I'm okay with that. That's libraries to me. It's not quiet spaces. There are quiet spaces in the library, but not as many as maybe people think. Books are just one part of what we do, and it's an important part. We're still big on literacy. We're still big on information as it's transmitted through books, but it's important to us that this is a space where you belong. If all you're looking for is to encounter that community, to get a better sense of where you live, what your neighbors look like, what they value, this is your space.